What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. For today's video, we're going to be checking out the DNA Design DK-59 upgrade kit. Based on the design of the Studio Series 86 Optimus Prime, this upgrade is set to make him even closer to the animation model. And I've got to say that they definitely had their work cut out, as that Commander class is arguably one of the best figures ever made. To be completely honest, I had actually questioned whether or not this figure even needed an upgrade, especially considering that some of their more recent releases have been kinda lackluster to say the least. Not to mention that in comparison to the Killing Arm upgrade kit, this nearly retails for double the price, which when you begin to take into account what this does include, I'm not entirely convinced that it's worth it. With that being said, the brand new head sculpt does look fantastic and is strikingly accurate to the cartoon. Not to say there was anything wrong with the original version, but in comparison to the animation, it was definitely slightly more inspired by the design of MP10. This also includes the arm of Megatron, which is a great callback to how he recently appeared in the Skybound comics. Despite the fusion cannon visually being an upgrade in comparison to the Studio Series Megatron, it's unfortunately not compatible, mainly due to the tab being slightly too long. It can, however, be wielded as a handheld weapon, and even includes an LED feature that can be activated by the use of a magnet stored on the shoulder of Megatron. There are also additional hip skirts, which to tell the truth, I can't really say is an upgrade this guy needed, and sadly do kinda get in the way of the articulation. One upgrade which I did think was particularly clever would be how they've created Sideswipe's jetpack. Not only does this look fairly convincing, but also gives Optimus Prime's backpack an actual reason for being there. Something else which originally didn't look the best would be the Matrix Chamber. Despite being accurately detailed, it was left completely unpainted, which was a shame as it's based on arguably one of the most iconic scenes in the movie. The upgrade nearly completely fixes that and makes it appear a lot closer to the cartoon. Then finally, also included is Megatron, fully transformed into a Warthog P-38, which in comparison to the Studio Series version is again considerably more detailed. With that being said, I have got to be honest guys, taking a look at the complete kit, I really don't think that it's worth basically the price point of a Voyager. Despite there being some really cool inclusions, this retails for almost half the price of the actual figure. And with there now being considerably cheaper options that almost include the same, it does honestly make this a tough sell. Diving into the articulation, despite visually mostly being an improvement, there are some parts from an engineering standpoint which I don't think work quite as well in comparison to the original. So to begin with, the head is on a ball joint. This can look up, down, tilt side to side, and rotate left to right. The shoulder can kick forward, backwards, and completely out to the side. The bicep can spin, with the elbow being double jointed. The hand can rotate, with the fingers being just as articulated as the original hand. The hips can kick forward only to that far. They can also kick back, but out to the side only to this far. So despite the upper torso still being incredibly dynamic, the hips are now unfortunately slightly limited, which is yet another reason why I would recommend instead the Killing Arm kit, as not only is it considerably cheaper, but it also doesn't include anything that makes the figure slightly more of a hassle to mess with. Leading the way into the transformation, despite mostly being exactly the same, there are a few differences which are definitely worth pointing out. So for the first step, take the antennas and slide these forward, fold this panel out to the side, rotate the wrist, then slide the hand into the forearm. With that complete, snap this panel back into place, rotate at the bicep, then bend the elbow inward. Once you reach to this point, we can now take the shoulder and slide this back, much like you would do on the original version. Then take this panel and snap it into place. We can now take this part of the jetpack and attach it into this slot, which will then allow the front of the truck to slide into place. And those are all of the differences in comparison to the original transformation. Here is Optimus Prime now fully transformed into his truck mode, with this time one major difference in comparison to the original, that being the integration of Megatron's arm, which again is something recently seen in the Skybound comics and I think personally is a really cool look. The fusion cannon can even be positioned as a smokestack, although to be honest it's probably slightly too big, or as an actual weapon for Optimus to use. The second biggest improvement would have to be the back of the truck. Unlike the original, this is now completely filled in, which I definitely think looks much better. The only slight downside to this mode is that as far as I can tell, the hip skirts have to be removed, but in their place, you are now able to store the boosters, which again is a great throwback to arguably one of the most iconic scenes in the movie. So, wrapping up on this review for the DNA Design DK-59 upgrade kit. To be completely honest, despite the kit still being pretty decent, for the price point I would have to recommend either the Killing Arm upgrade or a KO of the Studio Series 86 Optimus Prime. Whilst the quality of the kit definitely feels on par with their previous releases, I just think nearly $40 is far too much to ask, especially with upgrades such as the hip skirts clearly being included just to inflate the price. DNA Design was once the king of upgrade kits, but more recently really seems to be overpricing a lot of their products. But I would love to get your thoughts. Be sure to sound off below and let me know. As always, I thank you all so much for watching, and until my next video, I'll see you then. Transform and roll out!